Right now, a silent revolution is happening inside a few locked rooms in Silicon Valley. It isn't using guns or soldiers. It's using code. In the next 10 years, the way you earn money, the way you spend it, and the people who run your world will change forever. Most people think AI is just a tool to write emails or make funny pictures. But the truth behind this will shock you. We are not just looking at a new app. We are looking at the end of the world as we know it. First, your current job might not exist by 2030. And strangely, that might actually be a good thing. Second, money itself is being rewritten. Imagine a world where you are paid just for being human. That idea sounds impossible today, but it is much closer than most people think. And finally, there is a much bigger secret. A small number of companies are gaining more power than entire countries ever had. This is not a slow story. This is the blueprint for your future. To understand where we are going, we need to understand speed. In the past, world-changing technologies moved slowly. The steam engine took decades. Electricity took generations. The internet took years to reach every home. Artificial intelligence moved into daily life in just a few months. A few years ago, almost no one talked about OpenAI. Today, its leader sits with presidents and global decision-makers. That happened for one reason. Control over advanced intelligence. This intelligence is not just software that plays games or answers questions. It is intelligence that can learn anything a human can learn. It works faster. It does not sleep. It does not complain. And it never asks for a raise. For ordinary people, this breaks the old promise of success. For decades we were told to study, get a degree, and secure a desk job. That ladder is now breaking. When the same work can be done by a server for almost nothing, the old rules stop making sense. This time, the change is not limited to factories. It is reaching offices, lawyers, designers, programmers, managers. Entire white-collar careers are being reshaped. One major reason this is happening now is hardware. Powerful chips make modern AI possible. Without them, none of this works. Whoever controls these chips controls the future of intelligence. Here is the real shock. The idea of a job itself is starting to disappear. For 200 years, humans traded time for money. 40 hours a week meant survival. Artificial intelligence destroys that equation. Tasks that once took hours now take seconds. Research, design, planning, writing. When work takes almost no time, paying for time no longer makes sense. That is why millions of roles will not vanish overnight, but they will change so deeply that they become unrecognizable. A person who once sold skills will now manage machines that perform those skills instantly. Survival no longer depends on doing the work, but on directing it. This creates the largest reskilling moment in human history. If you cannot work with intelligent tools, you compete against something that works endlessly and costs almost nothing. But this leads to a dangerous problem. If machines do most of the work, who earns money? And if people do not earn money, who buys products? This contradiction forces governments and institutions to rethink money itself. That is why ideas like universal basic income are being discussed seriously. Not as charity, but as a system requirement. When production becomes automatic, income must separate from labor. The old world rewarded effort. The new world rewards ownership. Those who own intelligent systems grow unimaginably wealthy. Those who do not become dependent on systems designed by others. This gap changes power. When income comes from institutions instead of work, control shifts. Economic freedom becomes political power. And this leads to the most uncomfortable truth. Power is no longer centered in countries. It is moving toward a few technology companies. Modern intelligence requires three things: massive data, massive computing power, and massive energy. Only a handful of organizations on Earth control all three. This allows them to influence markets, information, behavior, and decision-making at a global scale. We are slowly moving from democracy shaped by people to systems shaped by algorithms. Even more unsettling is this: the creators of these systems admit they do not fully understand how the intelligence reaches its conclusions. We are trusting a black box with the steering wheel of civilization. This is no longer theory. It is already shaping what people see, what work is considered valuable, and what futures are possible. So what does this mean right now? There is no longer a safe path. Stability no longer comes from memorizing facts or following old career advice. In the near future, productivity will explode. Costs will fall. Small teams will outperform entire corporations. Offices will become emptier while output increases. Long term, humanity may become the last generation that must work to survive. Future generations may see traditional jobs the way we see outdated labor practices today. But there is a condition. If power remains concentrated, comfort will not mean freedom. It will mean dependence. The most valuable asset will not be a degree. It will be trust, creativity, reputation, and human connection. There is one thing artificial intelligence still cannot do. It cannot choose a purpose. It can create endlessly, but it does not understand meaning. It does not feel pride or regret. It does not care why something exists. The real transformation is not machines replacing humans. It is machines replacing the mechanical parts of humans. For decades, people were forced into repetitive systems. Artificial intelligence is removing that burden and forcing humanity to confront a deeper question. If survival no longer defines us, what does? This revolution is not about technology. It is about identity. And whether this future becomes a utopia or a cage depends on how power, ownership, and humanity are handled next. The world is moving fast. Understanding it is no longer optional.